This is Ki Sun Song. I'm the Director for Human and Social Development sector. I am actually covering South Asia. It is my pleasure and honor to actually moderate this deep dive session. We will start with the keynote presentation that is presenting the global high-tech climate-smart agricultural research network that is actually based on the agricultural universities in around the world. And then this novel idea came about in 2019, and we are here to actually discuss further as it actually ripe into more actionable item. So it is my pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, Professor Seok-ha Lee. He's currently professor. He's former Dean, College of Agriculture and Life Sciences in Seoul National University, Korea. Please welcome him with a warm round of applause.
Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to ADB for giving me the opportunity to introduce the Global High-Tech Agricultural University Network, which we call GHAN, G-H-A-N. We are planning to establish this GHAN in the near future. I'm going to talk about current status and the future prospect of GHAN. So next slide. Doesn't go. Okay. Let me introduce myself briefly. And my name is Seok-ha Lee. And as professor at Seoul National University, I received a PhD in crop science at the University of Georgia. My research area is crop genomics and breeding of legume crops with a specific emphasis on soybean and mung bean. And I was a Dean, College of Agriculture and Life Sciences at Seoul National University, and I was the president of the International Crop Science Society. And I was elected for the member, as a member, Korean Academy of Science and Technology. And I was the president of the Korean Association of Scientific Societies for Agriculture, Food, and Life Sciences. And today, I'm going to introduce some relevant trends that are shaping agriculture in the world. In response to these challenges, I'd like to propose the establishment of GHAN. Then why in Korea, I'd like to explain rationale behind establishing a global hub in Korea, then some kind of progress, overview, mission, and vision, and the governance structure, framework, and the future prospect of GHAN will be explained later. As you know, we are facing increasing world population and wealth. There is a surge demand. There is surge in demand for resources, particularly food. And also, this escalating demand for food is not only about the quantity, but also about quality. So there is a growing consciousness for the consumers to like to have safe and healthy nutritional foods. And the increased pressure on environment, including land usage and natural resources. And there is a scarcity of fresh water and energy, which are fundamental for sustainable human development. And you know, climate change is not coming in the future, but already being with us. And there are competing claims for food and energy. Some of the food for human consumption should be used for bioenergy production. And there is an increasing urbanization and the population density resulted in heightened disease pressure and proliferation of invasive pests. And frequently, agricultural activities are seen in association with environmental problems such as pollution, degradation, erosion, high water use, and carbon emissions. Global changes has resulted in immediate problem for agricultural science. The ecosystem service provided by agricultural sectors are less visible, but it is very important. There is a tremendous potential for positive changes by agricultural sectors. But farming technology is changing very rapidly. I want to learn this video. It takes just 2 minutes. The source from John Deere company, but I'm not going to advertise John Deere company, but you can imagine some future farming with these slides. Please learn this video, please.
The weather. Prices are up by 10 cents at the elevator.
Message to Walker. That's great. Thanks.
Put a field 5 in aggregate at all. Mark?
How are the boys?
They're working where we can't, and now I'll be on it all night.
They'll get it done.
Go with solution 2, field 5.
Solution 2, field 5.
Let's do it.
As you can see in these slides, the artificial intelligence and some autonomous production system or robotic system will be dominantly used in the future. As you see here, you can make a decision for some kind of a production management for the crop in the farm, as well as in the farm. You can also make a decision in the office or home or during driving or during vacations. So to meet this change in future farming, there is a need for revamping agricultural higher educations in the developing member countries. So modern agriculture requires high-tech skill set and innovation, and traditional agricultural education system fails to attractive to younger generations, and the agricultural universities lack capacity and resources to transfer cutting-edge technologies. And there is a need for a new paradigm to train agropreneurs with a practical skill in a well-designed program. So ensuring sustainable agricultural development will require us to train future leaders equipped with high-tech agriculture, promoting agricultural innovation and transforming production systems. And this will utilize the best scientific knowledge and technological pathways. And finally, this enhance application skills through practical experience in the field. why in Korea? I'd like to explain briefly the rationale behind establishing a global hub in Korea. Korean agriculture achieved rapid growth during the past 70 years after Korean War from 1950 to 1953. At the time, the old industry and even forest in the mountain were totally destroyed. However, during the 70 years, we had some assistance from the USA. We called it Minnesota project. With the project about 5 or 6 years project, many people were trained at the University of Minnesota. So we have a lot of experience to be trained and to train the kind of situation. And during the past 70 years, we achieved the success of the Green Revolution by developing, mainly by developing some Tongil rice variety, by crossing between Indica and Japonica rice. And this is characterized with a high yield. And in addition to this development of variety, we improve the use of irrigation, fertilizer, and the pesticides. And also, we achieved the success of a white revolution through the spread of facility farming technology using the plastic greenhouse method mainly for vegetable production. In addition to these green and white revolutions, we achieved also some green forest program. So why we had compressed growth of South Korean agriculture? This is because contributed by the expansion of the government-led EER system, we called, as a key factor. Since 1962, the operation of the EER system consisting of agricultural research, R, and the technology transfer to the farmers through technology extension E and another E, farmer education, was centered on rural development administration. And this ER system promoted rapid innovation during the 1970s and the 1980s through the government-led agricultural growth strategy. And we had a very strong information and communication technology and well-established agricultural higher education base. And I'd like to explain briefly the progress and the current status of global initiatives. At the third Global ODA Forum for Sustainable Agricultural Development and initiating GAN was proposed at first by the Director General's meeting of the international organizations. And we have a kick-off workshop for ADB and the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Rural Affairs cooperation project on agricultural value chain development. The GAN was also ADB proposal for establishing GAN in Korea and train some agricultural officials, leaders, and young agropreneurs in Asia was proposed at that time. And we had a discussion with the former UN General Secretary, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, and he showed a very positive response about the establishment of GAN, and he accepted as an offer to serve as an advisor to the Global Advisory Council of GAN. And at the ADB MEPRA International Joint Workshop for Agricultural Value Chain and GAN was held at Seoul National University 2019, and need to emphasize the need to establish a GAN. And also Seoul National University has some potential role as a global hub for GAN. And after that, the Bangladesh Agricultural University, a group of professors visited our Seoul National University, and they stayed 1 month, and they, in addition to the discussion on recruiting students, they visited around the place, some national research organizations and the local university during their stay. And a special report to the Minister of MAPRA on the progress of the GAN were reported at with the Minister. And finally, just right after the visit to Seoul National University from Bangladesh Agricultural University, we had, as you know, we had a cosmid virus infection in the world. So using Zoom meeting, some letter of agreement was signed between SNU and the BAU. The concept of the GAN is revolving around creating a collaborative network that provides a framework for or requires cooperation among groups or organizations involved in the promotion of human resources for capacity building in the agricultural sectors of DMCs. And GAN will serve as a platform for collaboration network among several institutes, government, multilateral organizations, public institutions, and the private institutions and firms. The mission and the vision of GAN are rooted in the belief that education is the key to unlocking the potential of individuals and nations in the agricultural sectors. So the mission of the GAN is to provide the educational opportunity to foster high-skilled talent and to establish a virtuous cycle of high-quality global education cooperation system, and to serve as a platform as a hub for fostering agricultural human resources. For the governance structure of GAN, we will have a core governance unit, a global advisory council, steering committee, technical committee, and secretariat. And there is 2 global and regional hubs, but global hubs is in charge of teaching and training, innovative technology development, and network management and outreach. And for the regional hubs will be in charge of teaching and training, high-tech localization, and business incubation, depending on the type of some counter-match universities. As you see here, there are many institutions will be involved in organization of the GAN. So GAN may have including some international organization, domestic institution, private foundation, regional hub, and foreign university. But so we think the GAN might have a robust foundation for effective management and coordination to network with this type of network of many different institutes. And there is 2, one is a global hub, and the other is a regional hub of GAN. The global hub is in charge of general management of education and the training, development of innovative technologies, policy planning and implementation, network operation, and outreach activities. For the regional hub, we are planning to establish a regional hub with Bangladesh Agricultural University. And if this regional hub is successful, then we are trying to expand the establishment of regional hub with other universities in South Africa, South Asia, or some Latin America hopefully. At Seoul National University, we had some kind of some training, for PhD or student from Anjang University in Vietnam through the COICA project. This is the some project for strengthening agricultural higher education, and 10 years project, about $10 million total. And the Anjang University is located about 3 hours driving from Ho Chi Minh City. So even though it's very hard to visit there, we are exchanging many professors and students together with this project. And we had another project about some initiative of COICA, ECA project. This project is very unique in transferring some center to this university from Seoul University. In addition to the capacity building for the Center for Agriculture and Bioscience of IPB University in Indonesia, we are trying to transfer some kind of good post-equipment center to the IPB University with this project. I'd like to introduce briefly about the National Instrumentation Center for Environmental Management, NICEM. Actually, this center was established about early 90s with the help of 10th and 11th IBRD education loan program. And with the program, we were purchasing high-tech equipment and advanced research system there. Now, this institute is very unique in self-sustaining institute with just minimum financial support from the university headquarters. So this center will be transferred to the IPB University. Just about a few years ago, some Tsingtao Agricultural University in China also transferred this center to Tsingtao Agricultural University, and I been there about several years ago, and the center was also very active in Tsingtao Agricultural University. So this is unique in self-sustaining. They collect the analyst fee to pay 100 staff salary and purchase the new high-tech equipment every year. Let me just explain the future prospect of GAN, and we are going to organize secretariat, and some specific roles will be presented, and compose some committee and some council, and establish a cooperative system of GAN governance. And we are going to complete a roadmap and a master plan to establish GAN and prepare curriculum, and prepare detailed programs including curriculum, and prepare for training selection. And this is an example of curriculum design, and at the first and second year, all the people selected from developing countries will be lectured on the general subject, and after 1 year, they are going to have choose some specialized specialization track education, and on-site training and project-based research training will be done also at the third and fourth years. And at the agricultural high-tech transformation tracks, we will include some ICT, biotech, big data, drone, robotics, remote sensing, and so on. This is an illustrated example of a curriculum, and this curriculum was designed with the help of Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries in Korea. And we may have 4 different tracks we call the ABCD: agri-food business, green biotechnology, and climate change management, and digital agriculture. You may be interested in financing for GAN operations. We are going to find ways to support operating funds for the Secretariat from Korean government, Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. And also the first step will utilize funds to support education and the training for the cultivation of agropreneurs through the signing MOU with ADB with limited persons. And step 2 will leverage the funds to strengthen capacity building of international organizations. Step 3, hopefully, fund from private foundations. There are 3 stages for establishing the GAN, and now we are initiation stage, and we are trying to establish the GAN in the probably next year. Then we will contact with some institute and also some in the international or national organizations. And this is the roadmap for establishing the GAN. With the help of BAU and ADB, SNU would like to have a GAN global hub. Very recently, the K-Exim Bank, through the Economic Development Cooperation Fund, approved $61 million to transfer some kind of a national instrumentation center at the Bangladeshi Agricultural University. And in addition to SNU, some GSIAT, SNU, AC, Agricultural College, and Best School, we will also have a contact with other universities in Korea, Korean National University of Agriculture and Fisheries, and Gyeongsang National University for this program. I'd like to close my talk, and thank you for coming and listening my talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Lee. Please have a seat. Can I invite now the panelists to the front? Yeah. Please be seated. Now, I would like to only briefly introduce the panelists. If I have to actually elaborate the distinguished qualification and career of our panelists, we may end up spending half an hour easily. So I would like to just highlight your most, the current affiliation. So next to Professor Lee, Dr. Shingen Fan. He is the Chair Professor and Director, Global Food System Policy Center, China Agricultural University. Thank you for coming. And then we also have a panelist joining us online, Dr. Ikrar Ahmad Khan. He's the Vice Chancellor, University of Agriculture, Faisalabad, Pakistan. Dr. Khan, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
Thank you very much, sir. Please standing by. We will start soon. We also have joined by Professor Dr. Nathaniel Bantayan. He's the Vice Chancellor of Research and Extension, University of Philippines, Los Baños. Thank you. Then, last but not the least, Ms. Gladys Morales. She's Global Head of Innovation from International Fund for Agricultural Development. Thank you very much for joining us. So I am the moderator today, so I have all the privileges to ask most interesting questions, but the audience will have a chance to raise questions, also discuss some of the important aspects. As the objective of this session indicates, GAN is in the making. The idea has been germinated in sometime 2019, but because of the COVID and so on, our familiar excuses why things are not moving. But it's actually picking up the momentum. Even during the COVID, there has been a lot of work has been done. It comes with the objectives of creating a unique network of existing universities and research organizations, also with a lot of support from the partners, to create this a unique kind of opportunities to increase the number of technology-enabled agriculture human resource, and then using that to actually transform the agriculture to meet the challenges of the now and the future. So as Professor Lee explained, there are some key envisaged roles of the global and the regional hubs. So I would like to ask all the panelists the common questions so that we can solicit your kind of respective input and advice, given that this is deep dive session. So this is a common question to all panelists. What kind of leading role do you expect for the global hubs and the regional hubs through this network? May I invite Dr. Fan first? Please use the microphone.
Okay, well, thank you. Firstly, thank you, Dr. Lee, for a very good and a clear presentation. I do think it's quite important to set up this sort of network, this sort of hub, to make sure that all the universities, particularly in developing countries, work together to use high tech to drive our agricultural and food system transformation. Obviously, clearly, you have done enough work already. Particularly, Ban Ki-moon is a key advisor into this. I think he is very much respected, and he is very passionate about development, particularly food, agriculture, and nutrition security. So I engaged with him before during the World Economic Forum. So what is the role of the hub? You asked us. I think, obviously, we already have an initial plan. The first role is to explain what the GAN is. We need a bit more communication. I think today you explained to us, we understood, but you needed to explain this to more people, more universities in different countries. So maybe that's the first job, communication of the GAN to more universities in the world, particularly in developing countries. That's number one. Number two, you already started some work. I think it would be good to really move forward the work to implement your plan as soon as possible, because it was stopped by the COVID. I think that momentum was stopped. So can we regain the momentum by mobilizing more resources, by setting up all these governance structures you just mentioned, and let's host various consultation meetings, and to ask more universities to join this network. You have a global hub and also the regional hub. So my third point is the universities vary quite a bit. One is their size. Some are very big, some are very small. So my university, during the lunch with Dr. Lee, my university, China Agricultural University, has more than 3,000 students. and with the annual budget probably or close to $500 million, maybe even close to $500 million. But you also have some small universities. So the fourth job is, how can you really make sure that different universities have a role there, big, small, and also some are quite more advanced. You know, some of the universities, even in our region, rank 7th or 8th at the global level. Many ranks maybe 300. So you have such a big variation. So how can you really make sure that different type of universities can contribute to this hub? Strong ones maybe help the weak ones can catch up. So that's probably my sort of fourth role this hub can play. So I will come back, but this is just some sort of my initial thought, because the first time I hear this, and I think it's very exciting to do this. Higher agricultural technology. So I'll stop here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Fan. It's a lot of food for thought, like especially the last point, like how different universities can contribute, and also feeling part of it and meaningfully contribute and grow together. I think it's a very important point. May I kind of pose the same question to Ms. Morales? As a kind of leading thinker and advisor on the agriculture innovation, not only just like a production side, but you kind of being global head of innovation, IFAD is also working on all across the agriculture value chain. So how do you see this kind of network that is combining the education, extension services, and the technology? What will be the unique role it can play?
That's a very good question. So let me start by thanking you for the invitation and to ADB for hosting the forum. We see these collaborations and these partnerships as key components in supporting IFAD's efforts for data-driven and evidence-based decision-making. So when we talk about climate, when we talk about food security, there is a very important component in that which has to do with advocacy efforts to educate the general public, but also to advocate for governments to make investments that are addressing climate change and that are addressing food security. However, advocacy efforts that are not substantiated with data and with evidence are flawed from the beginning. They are marketing efforts without much substantial evidence. So I see this network as a community of practice for knowledge, for data gathering, for ensuring that data is of good quality, so that it's not only a collection of data, but the efforts are also focused on increased efforts to enhance the quality of data and to enhance research that gives us evidence to test our assumptions and ensuring that the decisions and programs that we are designing, but also the investments that we're making, are being based on that evidence. The other very important component of a network of this kind is knowledge sharing. Sharing not only knowledge, but also experiences. So gathering the research, the knowledge from all these different universities, and I hope also the integration with knowledge from the private sector, because the private sector brings tremendous knowledge and experience into how we innovate in terms of technologies and in terms of even innovative partnership models. It's crucial. So it's bringing together those different multi-stakeholders, governments, foundations, of course, research institutions, and the private sector. So building a community of practice that is heavily focused on research, evidence, and data collection and data quality. That's where I see the value added of this particular network.
Thank you very much. I kind of feel like Professor Khan may feel left out. So before I move to the last person in presence here, may I call on Professor Khan?
Yes, ma'am.
Of the
Thank you
same
very much.
of the same question, sir, just remind you, what kind of leading role do you expect the global and regional hub to play?
Well, I would like to compliment the structures that have been presented by Professor Lee, and I would like to endorse the views of two panelists, particularly uh, Professor Pan, and then, of course, IFAD represented here. Uh, the, uh, the ideas presented by Professor Lee for global network, and then the agenda that he has uh, placed before us is very exciting. And we really look forward to working with the team. I would like to particularly mention the comments made by Professor Fan that the size of universities, the diversity, and the rankings are some of the areas of interest that we need to capitalize in terms of making best use of this network and the community in the making. We are very excited about the opportunities. We have several collaborations in the member countries, particularly Korea and China. We are a host to one of the major nutrition program in Pakistan, which is funded by COECA. That is in collaboration with another university in Korea, Changnam National University. But we do have a team with us which has contacts and networks in SNU. So yes, I'm here to support the idea, and I'll wait for my turn to respond to my specific question.
Thank you very much, Professor Khan. Now moving to Professor Nathaniel Bantayan, Vice Chancellor. Same question to you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Before I start, I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting UPLB in this session. And in fact, the UPLB is the national university, especially in terms of agriculture. So we're very happy to be here and contribute. And as an answer to the question, this is the year or the age of collaboration. And the way to do that is to create networks. And GAN, GHAN, will play a very big role in making sure that each country's agricultural development will take off. Korea essentially is the model of the Philippines as far as we're concerned in terms of agricultural development. A few years ago, the Department of Agriculture commissioned UPLB to prepare its National Agriculture Fisheries Research for Development Master Plan. And we looked to Korea, specifically the RDA, as a model for ensuring that agricultural development is ensured. Why is that? RDA, at the very least, has 80% with MS and PhD, and we're speaking of professionals here, 80%. The Department of Agriculture is about 2-3%. You have entire, units, offices with, baccalaureate people, not even at the MSc level. So this network will help us, at least agriculture in the Philippines, be trained and perhaps hopefully have scholarships available to us. I'd like to mention also the Korean government, COICA, has embarked on a 7-year project with IRI and UPLB to develop its genomics program. With that, 10 PhDs are now en route or have started their PhD programs in at least 9 universities. One of them is SNU. In fact, earlier I was talking to Dr. Lee that last week or 2 weeks ago I was in NISEM. One of our students in UPLB taking her PhD, his PhD on native plants, genomics of native plants, is working with SNU CALS, and also visited NISEM. So this is really the age of networks, and collaboration is the key to development. And one thing going at least for UPLB is we have a unit we call Office of Institutional Development for Higher Education. What does that mean? We have a network of at least 100 higher education institutions, most of them in agriculture. And with that, I mean, the GAN will benefit from our own network. So UPLB perhaps as a national hub, at least for the Philippines, be connected to all other HEIs, and that means you easily expand the opportunities for capability building, trainings, and essentially research. Undertake research in different parts of the country. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. That actually your last point, emphasis on research, is actually a good segue to the next round of question. I'm coming to you, Dr. Fan. Developing country universities, actually, they're really picking up on education, especially the development I see in, at least like in South Asia, they're expanding higher education quite quickly, but they're mostly focusing on education and then not so much on research. And then like a university's role is actually really dual function. Like research is a very, very important role to lead the technological changes and thinking and the new innovative ideas. But unfortunately, developing country universities are weaker in research capacity. What kind the constraint faced by the developing country universities, how they can be actually addressed by this kind of network?
Well, ideally, research, education, and extension should be together. Dr. Lee said that he studied in Minnesota. I also studied in Minnesota. When we went to the University of Minnesota College of Agriculture, it's not just for education. It is for extension. It is for research. So-called 3 functions together. Unfortunately, in many developing countries, research, education, and extension are separate, including my own country in China. So in longer term, I think it is a vision to bring all this together. Maybe in the Philippines is very unique in this part of the region, with education, extension, and research together. So, but how can we solve the current challenges? I can think of several ways. One is through this hub, to share the capacity. It is a vision that we also bring some of the world-class agricultural universities here into our hub. It's a Wageningen Agricultural University, maybe University of Minnesota. So they have strong capacity. Can they share with us? One is obviously we send our students there. So for example, if my university or CAU, not a BAU that's Bangladesh, China Agricultural University. Yeah, ranks actually number 8 or 9 globally in agriculture, but we still try to from Wageningen by sending students there. 2 plus 2, 3 plus 1. I mean, 2 years in China, 2 years in Wageningen. Or 3 years in Wageningen, 1 year in China. So that sort of sandwich program can really help us to accelerate that, to address the capacity gap. So that's one way we can do. The second is, we can record the teaching materials, right? Then we share the teaching materials in all universities, whether it's in Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, China, the Philippines, and so on. So I think the video, we learn from COVID, right? We can use the video. And the third, the online teaching. So I would be very happy to teach some classes for some universities in Bangladesh and Pakistan using virtual online teaching. So I can sit in Beijing, I teach a student there, and I interact with them. We have done this for many years. And then one concrete example is there is an alliance of 5 agricultural universities in the world, A5. So it's the China Agricultural University, Cornell University, UC Davis, Sao Paulo University. So 5 universities, they share teaching, they share classes online. So I think this model we can use too. I think this sort of a sharing will be important to really address the gap between research and education, right? So ideally, they should be combined. I mean, as a professor, if I don't do research, then if I just teach somebody else materials, it's very difficult. I'm not confident. Anyways, I'll stop here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fan. And now I move to Dr. Khan on the line. I have a question for you. This is also like something I face a lot when I'm working in developing countries, and then perhaps even like advanced countries as well. Sir, given that we are looking at the high technologies and knowledge as a basis for also transforming the agriculture and the agriculture education, what do you think that which area of technology or knowledge have a high demand for agricultural transformation at this point? And then also, how do you see that some of this technology excites our young generation coming to the university or attracting more students to the agricultural studies? Over to you, sir. Dr. Khan, are you there?
I'm sorry. Yes. I have a wish list according to the question given to me, and that includes data science as our top priority. That makes decision support systems for all the way from farmer to the government to make everything cost effective. We need to enter into a massive arrangement for making use of genomics, bioinformatics, new genetics, genome editing, and then right in the field, the developing countries need precision-driven agriculture mechanization. That includes using sensors, image processing, drones, robotics. We also need to create youth focused programs using connectivity, global outreach. The way Professor Fan mentioned that you can probably make educational delivery diverse and more effective using online resources, or credit transfer arrangements like 1+2, 2+2. We have similar arrangements with some Chinese institutions and also within country. which is credit transfer arrangement. The future challenge for agriculture is basically climate resilient developments, which includes use of technology as well as genetics, but more importantly, agronomic arrangements are to be redefined because we have so much unforeseen events happening. And to me, the best adaptations would be that we create temperatures resilient crops, and we also create crops which are shorter in duration and more predictable in terms of outcome. In climate adaptation, we need support and in the lab analytics also. For example, greenhouse gas measurements, working on system approach. And for Southeast Asia in general and for Pakistan in particular, 70 to 75% of the cropping system revolves around two crops. And that also affects other crops and livestock in the region, which are rice and wheat. So we have to develop all kinds of integrated tools to make rice wheat systems more efficient and profitable. In terms of food security, it's very important that these two staple crops are very well looked after. But in terms of nutrition, particularly when we have massive nutritional deficiencies, including micronutrients like zinc and iron, the biofortification research, and then, of course, dietary diversification. Those are some of the areas of collaboration. For youth, it is very important that we make them skilled enough that they are employable. And their employability should be beyond the borders, actually, because there is a global market for skilled human resource. So as a global high-tech universities network, our graduates should be prepared for global market. So I believe that we have a very good reason to put our efforts together. And thanks to Professor Lee and our other colleagues on the head table today, we're discussing a way forward. And I fully support the ideas floated by my fellow panelists, and I am looking forward to working with this team. About the university ranking, which Professor Fan has mentioned, I would also like to proudly mention that we are in top 60 ag universities globally, where, of course, China Agriculture University is 6th or 7th. So in this region which we are talking about, we are one of the top 3-4 universities. So we are very happy to be part of this network. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Khan. Professor Khan mentioned something like a kind of crop diversification and micronutrients, the biofortification and so on. And then while I was doing PhD, my next door neighbor was actually doing the adoption of iron fortified rice. Or was it like a golden rice?
No,
so
vitamin A.
yeah, vitamin A. Yeah.
Vitamin A.
Yeah. So, but I understand there were some issues like actually adoption or the commercialization and so on. So now I'm kind of segueing to Dr. Batayan. How can we actually foster the research findings? You kind of vice chancellor for research and extension. So that means like you do research and you're also helping farmers to adopt those technology. So how can we kind of foster research findings into commercialization and like a kind of products that can be actually commercially available in the market and people use? Then like how do we, and then one of the like vision of GAN is actually turning the agriculture university graduates to so-called agropreneurs, right? like someone who's like bringing this agricultural technology and products and become entrepreneurs. So how that can be possible? I mean, do you have some pathways to realize this vision?
Thank you for the question. I'd like to start off by saying that UPLB recently celebrated its 115th foundation. So we've been there for more than a century, and we were established as a College of Agriculture. A few years later, parallel to that, School of Forestry. But as a national university in agriculture, we've been doing research for a very long time. But over the last 3 years, there has been a rebranding of how we do research, meaning our approach has been in terms of research informs instruction. Previously, it was the other way around. Our networking was based on academic partnerships. But now, over the last 3.5 years, we've pivoted and focused on research collaboration. But how do we then approach our partners, our potential partners? What do we put on the table? At the same time, we refocused our attention, we rebranded our research and extension agenda, and we called it Agora. As everybody knows, Agora is a Greek word for marketplace. So we consider our research agenda as a marketplace of ideas, where innovators, where students, faculty, researchers come together and co-design, co-develop technologies, new ways of doing things. But we identified 5 themes or focus areas, we call them. Food security and sovereignty. For us, sovereignty is very important. Resilience and sustainability, of course, climate change, DRR. Future communities and institutions. One Health, and more recently we launched a 5th focus area, which we call social justice and cultural flourishing. So 5 focus areas that we now put on the table and tell our potential partners, this is where we want to go. We want to partner with you. But there's always 2 columns there. One column is on our low-hanging fruits, what we think we are strong in, and let's work together. But the other column is what we think is important, but we're not sure yet. We know you're good there. Let's work together on this. But we start off with the low-hanging fruits that we know we have technologies already, almost 100 of them, a few patents, some commercialized. But I guess the approach here is we simplified and began to rebrand our research and extension agenda so that it is quite clear when we do our talks, discussions with our potential partners. The point on agripreneurs. I'd like to also to mention that the university has embraced what we call the Entrepreneurial University Framework, EUF. What does that mean? We have developed what we call entrepreneurial ecosystem that involves a conducive culture, facilitative policies, dedicated finance. We look at it as investment. I think previously we were always banking on grants, but we're now investing our meager resources, but putting some equity on our discussions. Relevant human capital, venture-friendly markets for products, and a broad institutional set and infra support. But I'd like to end by saying that the entrepreneurs that we would like to develop should be within what we call a social entrepreneur, meaning it should redound to the benefit of the farmer, meaning our technologies must be felt. And a few years ago, we were, always being told by our colleagues from the Department of Agriculture, where's your technology? Where's your technology? We scale it up, scaling up, because they cannot stay as prototypes. But of course, from our perspective, a publicly funded university, we are not in the business of commercialization. We are in the business of developing knowledge products, technologies. And when it's ready, there's a patent, we let the business, the industry come in and scale it up, bring it to the farmers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very important point, like the social consciousness of the entrepreneurs actually coming from the research side has to think about the social benefits overall. Now I turn to Ms. Morales. You're coming from IFAD, and it has been like a trusted partner to a lot of countries, like agricultural development. And then over time, the focus area has been also changing. So what would be the roles of international organizations? That's one. And then you also mentioned about emphasize the role of private sector when you're actually talking about knowledge and innovation. So what would be also role of private sector in this particular network to foster the agricultural innovation?
Thank you. I'm going to give you 3 specific examples of that kind of collaboration. But before I do that, I just wanted to follow up on your intervention, because there are some factors that you mentioned about the role of universities in the innovation ecosystem that I think are really important as factors. So one thing that is key is identifying what is the value added that each of us is bringing to these partnerships. Where is that each of us is located best to contribute value and to contribute knowledge and to contribate either financing, what is it we're bringing that is really making these networks strong and sustainable. So through our testing, learning, and adapting model at IFAD, one of the things that we have learned is that universities are very successful at doing research and incubation of ideas. And that's a space where universities are best placed to be partners in that incubation process. I really liked what you said before about universities not relying anymore on grants, but making sure that you are also implementing innovation models where the ideas that are being incubated are ideas that are being tested for feasibility, viability, and desirability. And even though
we need grants also.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. But of course you do, because in the incubation process you need grants, right? And you need a mindset that will be welcoming failure as a stepstone for
investing a little bit.
Exactly. But the contribution before about the role of universities is not to commercialize, but actually to incubate and making sure that you're working with agpreneurs to develop those patents. And then once the patents have been accepted by the market and you have been testing for feasibility, desirability, viability, then that's when they come in, the private sector and international organizations to scale them up. So that said, just very quickly, I would like to mention 3 initiatives that we have in the region. So one of the initiatives is the consortium to scale up climate-smart agriculture. And that's a consortium that we have with the South Asia Association for Climate-Smart Agriculture and with IFPRI. And what it aims to do is to identify high-tech climate-smart agriculture initiatives and to scale them up. Right now, the consortium is operating in Bangladesh and Nepal, and that's exactly what it's not only pursuing, but it's already doing. The second initiative that I wanted to share with you is Aspire. And Aspire has been implemented in Cambodia as one of the IFAD-funded projects. And I see a lot of alignment between what Aspire aims to do and this particular network that you are establishing. Is the creation of centers of excellence. So the creation of centers of excellence in different pillars of international development is one also of the priorities of the United Nations 2.0 agenda. And those pillars have to do with digitalization, innovation, collection and quality of data, behavioral science, and strategic foresight. So I see a very key value added from academia to provide the research and the evidence for those 5 pillars to have a strong basis to be able to develop our different initiatives. So that's Aspire. And then the third one is a collaboration that we have in China for poverty reduction. There is a lot of work that can be done in poverty reduction, but we also need to understand what is working, what is not working, where our investments make sense, and those decisions need to be, again, based on data. And so, again, that's where universities and research is fundamental, so that we are collecting that data, we are doing the research that is necessary, so that our assumptions are tested and we know when to pull the plug and stop the investments, and when to continue because the investments are generating impact and are generating results. But we can only do that if we are assessing, we're measuring, assessing impact, and that can only be done through research.
Thank you very much. So I actually exhausted the questions that I was given. Very interesting questions, and like even more interesting and very insightful responses. Thank you very much to the panelists. Any questions from the audience? If no questions, I have some. Yes, please. You please use microphone and also introduce yourself. And then if you're directing the question to specific panelists also, please mention that too.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciated the presentations and very wonderful panel discussions here. My name is Uchang from the UN60, United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. Our partner is mostly government, and we are supporting government to develop project programs. And actually, I'd like to mention that there are some sort of requests, a strong request from the government side when we discuss project ideation or initial project. I cannot agree more on all the aspects we discussed here. I'm also agree upon that capacity building for future generations, but actually there are needs from the government side at the moment when they develop projects, particularly looking at that, this technology or related agricultural cropping. So I just wonder whether if you are also considering some sort of extension services or consulting services for those kind of needs. That would be my question. So no specific panelist, but you can generally share your opinion on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dr. Fan, do you want to pick up this question? You mentioned about the research, education, extension has to come together. And then I understand in many countries, also the universities being the center of knowledge, also oftentimes providing that technical support to the government.
Yeah, well, I must say that the public extension system in the world and the region really failed to deliver what farmers need. That was an evaluation done by the World Bank, by many others. So we need a new way of doing extension. The one is to really engage the private sector. The private sector has incentives to provide technology, knowledge, financial service together. As long as government provide an enabling environment, encourage them, maybe give them some sort of subsidized loan, or maybe some sort of a taxi policy. For example, if they work with farmers, maybe some sort of tax concession and so on. So that's a new way of doing that. And then another way is in many countries, there are some sort of a technology service centers driven by public and private partnership. India, China, and for example, India, they have this so-called agricultural knowledge service center. It's not an NGO. They do make money, but they provide a service to farmers. In China, it's called a MAP model, Modernizing Agricultural Center. It's not, but it's set up by the Syngenta Foundation, or China Can. So we need to think new ways of providing knowledge information to farmers. Now, what is the role of the university here? But university, obviously, is a source of education, right? They train the young people. It's a source of research, well, although it's very weak, you mentioned that. So I think the university could be part of that, the knowledge center, not by public, by government. It's more part of the partnership. So this sort of model seems to me have worked very well. And I also hope ADB could look at that model. I think some of the knowledge service centers cover millions of smallholders.
You want to add anything? No?
Just I am in the university, so just some of my faculty members are trying to open some business, but they are very weak in opening how to open the kind of business. But they do research very well, but there is a weak point in that. So there should be some kind of organization for administration. But many in the developed many organization like some government organization may help with the kind of systems. But we usually had a very difficulties in, for example, some patent protection or how to make a business with that their some research, but we don't know how to make a business with that research. So probably some we can do by ourselves at the university. So some integration effort may needed to among many other institutes. Sorry.
So multidisciplinary approaches may be needed. I can see like a doctor may have some further inputs.
For us, extension is equivalent to public service. Because we are publicly funded, we're expected to, share the benefits of our knowledge products. So one of the major initiatives of our newly installed university president, Attorney Jimenez, is public service. In fact, he motivated or started what we call a Bangsa-Moro strategy. And that is to put initiatives of the entire UP system to helping our Bangsa-Moro brothers and sisters. Of course, being an indigenous person himself, uh, the the efforts now is towards helping the marginalized, no, benefit from, UP education, UP technologies. But I guess on the other hand, extension is also training and capacity building, and that is an integral part of how UPLB is designed. In fact, my office is called Vice Chancellor for Research and Extension. And extension is very important for us as far as, helping local governments and helping farmers and farming communities. No? But also at the same time, extension can also be in terms of technology transfer. And that is where technologies that are ready for commercialization, there needs to be that, I think we can call it the continuum, where you don't just give the technology right off, but there needs to be a constant communication between the end user and the technology developer, so that there's a feedback mechanism, that the technology is made sure that it works on the ground. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Can I add some experiences from Pakistan?
Yes, please, Dr. Khan.
Okay, ideally, but Dr. Fanes mentioned that U.S. land grant system, that would be something to be, looking for. But short of that, we have a full range of engagements that we do at all levels, which is working with the industry, working with government extension department, working with the political and bureaucratic channels, with international organizations. There's this whole stream of knowledge products that we keep on sharing. We also host a national incubation center which has venture capital availability, and we do 3 to 4 rounds a year to promote incubatees and trying to graduate them into small and medium enterprises. We are also acting as a core advisor to the provincial and federal governments. We have drafted actually a 10-year strategic plan for the provincial government, and that is being implemented with the approval of cabinet. But all that together still does not come close to what U.S. land grant system does, because most of those government departments and universities operate in isolation. So for a university to become more effective, we need to integrate our knowledge products with the end user, both government and the private sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, the one final question, because time is up. Yes, please.
Hello, thank you for the presentation, very interesting. I'm Petit Geronimo from the Education Sector Group. Just out of curiosity, is the GAN network also looking at partnering with companies like Arla? It's the 5th biggest farming company that's purely owned by farmers, and unlike Magnolia and Selecta, owned by conglomerates. So I think the farmer owners of Arla is 9,700 farmers. So like the Farm to Fork initiative. So I'm asking because my daughter works in Arla, and I think the youth of the Philippines are ideal. They look for companies like this who have that kind of value and thinking instead of going to the conglomerates. Thank you so much.
So just we are going to have a farm. Maybe there are several kind of farms in private sectors. But the reason I was talking about just a little bit ago, we have a very weak in the some kind of a business with farms. But developing some trainers from developing countries may have that experience with the farm. Even though regardless of size of the farm, small farm or big farms, we'd like to help them to have that experience. Actually, during our university course, some students had some interaction with some farms during some internship program. But now that internship program is going out and out. So that's the reason why we are trying to expand the kind of some work with the farm. But we are now, most of the students is now try to open the farm, but without any experience, they could not open some kind of make a business with their research result. But anyway, it's very. But finally, our education should go to some commercial findings. So we don't know how to do where, but the people in POM, they may have a better excellent than us. So that's the reason, just the integration all together to get good result.
I'm sure that once it's up and running, there will be a lot of opportunities to reach out and collaborate. And then I think some unique model like that would be also an interesting model case for other countries as well. So hopefully through the network, that interesting actually the multi-stakeholder, multi-holder kind of firms also can be a model case for agropreneurs later on. So it's thanks for sharing. Yes, really final question, because we are running out of the time. We're already actually 30 seconds left.
Thank you very much for this interesting presentation and the discussion about among the speakers. Probably this CAN model could be very powerful model to incubate and raising the educational network among the smart people who could be the policymaker in the future, or village leader or entrepreneur in agriculture sector in the future. But we need to think about the sustainability of the system. Currently, the outside fund should be inputted from the international organizations or something like that. So probably we need to think about having get the donation from some outsiders or from the private firms, or they could be contribute in their contribution, money or their work within that. So that kind of donations or outside help, this system could be more prosperous in the future. So in the future, we need to think about the sustainability of this network. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That is a big question, and then I think it's one big agenda that the network has to kind of over time really think about, and as it develops, we'll have more avenues to actually work on those like sustainability concerns. I think good thing is it's not something entirely new institution is built up, but it's tried to create that connectivity among the existing institutions, but the continuation of the network would be actually need to be guaranteed by the benefit it offers. And then that is also largely driven by the participating institutions' commitment and continuous effort. So I think with that, I know the panelists had like a lot more insight to share. If we are given maybe another 3-4 hours, but I know the most valuable thing that we do not have now is the time. So let me just close the session with a big round of applause for the panelists and the keynote speakers. Thank you very much.